Oh my golly gosh gee, guys. It's the Emerald Camel. That's so rare. There's like a 0.00001% chance of that spawning.
These are the funniest fake speedruns in Minecraft's new 1.20. Immediately when this first runner spawns in, we can see in chat a message that says he joined the world, which only happens on servers and not on single player worlds, suggesting that this guy is playing on a multiplayer server, something that will make more sense later. It's also worth noting that this runner's spawn is terrible, and any experienced runner would immediately reset for a better seed. The runner makes some tools and does some mining before eventually heading back to the surface, and walking in a very specific direction until he walks directly to a village, suggesting that he already knew the location from scouting out the world beforehand. He kills a golem for iron, but when he's fighting a second golem, notice how it doesn't fight back. This means that this golem was manually spawned in, as naturally spawned golems will attack players when they're being attacked. Immediately afterwards, he finds a village chest with loot that looks very man-made, and we can actually spot healing potion particles in the background that restore him to full health, suggesting that this run is being actively tampered with while the runner is playing, likely by another player, something that would explain why he's on a server and why we saw the join message earlier. A friend of his is helping him cheat. It's nighttime at this point, and the runner finds and kills a spider that drops a flint and steel? Yeah, and immediately after, he finds a lava pool that already has a portal frame built inside of it. Very sneaky. Once in the nether, the runner runs directly to a fortress, where he almost dies to wither skeletons. But similar to earlier when he was in the chest, he is randomly splashed by healing potions and his life is saved. Very, very strange. And soon after, as he's entering a portal, we can see potion particles floating next to him. These are the particles for invisibility, showing us that there is indeed another player on this world helping out the runner. They're just invisible. Once back in the overworld, the runner spends some time in a cave killing endermen, but something is off. While the runner is fighting some mobs, we can spot diamonds to his right, but there's only the one ore. But a few seconds later, when we see the diamonds again, there are two ores. So he mines the diamonds and walks away to keep hunting, but decides to turn around and the ores have returned in the exact same spot as before, allowing him to mine them a second time and get even more diamonds. So it's very clear that his invisible friend is still helping him cheat. Once the runner has all the eyes of Ender he needs, he throws one and then heads in its direction, but he just picks it right back up and heads back in the opposite direction. A very strange decision. And after running in this opposite direction for a while, the runner conveniently finds a random stronghold that seems to just be floating in the air, very clearly spawned in manually and obviously pretty lazily. Because of the stronghold being spawned in so poorly, the runner has to basically parkour his way through it to find the portal, which he finally does and uses to enter the end. Let's just move on. By the way, the statistics show that 0% of you guys are subscribed, like not a single person, so please consider subscribing. Before this next runner starts his run, take a good look at this world selection screen, specifically at this world right here. Make sure to take a good long look at the icon. You're gonna want to remember this for later. So the runner goes through the process of creating a new world, or so it seems, but when he spawns in, look at his surroundings. And now let's compare them to the world save from the menu. They are pretty much the exact same, meaning that these are the same world and showing us that he has already played on this world and set things up to give himself an advantage, something that will become very clear as the run progresses. To start the run, the runner heads right to a nearby village which he loots and then finds an igloo with a basement, which is not possible in a village. Igloo basements of course have zombie villagers, and this one is no different. The runner grabs a golden apple and splash potion from the chest and uses it to cure the villager, which once cured has a trade for ender pearls. How convenient. He leaves the village for now and is ready to head to the nether, but instead of looking for a lava pool or a ruined portal, he decides to use the lava from the village's blacksmith to build his own portal. Normally this would not be enough lava to make a portal, but he uses the 2 lava sources from the blacksmith to create an infinite lava source, which is obviously not possible. He must be using a mod or something to make this work, and work it does. He uses his new infinite lava source and water from under the ice to create a portal and heads right into the nether, where he finds a path over some lava that he clearly made himself, and when he follows it, it leads him right to a nether fortress. Interesting. The runner grabs a bunch of blaze rods in the fortress and then heads back to his portal and to the overworld. Once back in the overworld, the runner crafts his ender pearls from the villager into Eyes of Ender and is ready to head to the stronghold. But you might notice something strange when he starts throwing the eyes. It looks very laggy, even though everything else is running perfectly smooth. I believe that this is because he is using command blocks to make the eyes move in a specific direction to a specific location. And here's why. The runner starts to dig down to the stronghold shortly after he starts throwing eyes. And when he finally mines right into the portal room, it is clear that it was not naturally spawned. There are no iron bars, silverfish, any of that. He clearly built this himself to make it very close by and easy for him to get to. And he programmed the eyes to lead him here in order to make it seem legit, which would explain the laggy eyes. Maybe he would have gotten away with this all if the portal room didn't look like this. This next runner spawns right next to a village that is pretty normal, other than the massive amount of hay in it, much more than should naturally spawn. After gathering a bunch of the hay and then almost dying to an iron golem, he heads into a random house which somehow has a ton of overpowered loot. Really? Next, he heads to some gravel, presumably with the goal of finding flint, which he does. But if you slow down the video, you can tell that he didn't get the flint from the gravel. Instead, it seems like he got it from some sort of invisible item frame. Sneaky. The runner heads to a second village that's conveniently right next to the first, which he quickly loots before heading straight in a random direction. And what do you know? A ruined portal. Perfect. But he doesn't light it yet. Instead, he just completes it and leaves it for now. I guess he decides to keep running in search of something, which is further explained when he runs straight to a shipwreck, something he clearly already knew the location of. The shipwreck's chest has pretty good loot, and although it might seem believable and realistic, it's not. If we look at the loot tables for shipwreck chests, we can find the probabilities of certain items spawning. There's quite a few diamonds in this speedrunner's chest, 6 total to be exact. Considering that there's a 14.1% chance of 1 diamond spawning in a shipwreck chest, that means that the probability of 6 spawning, like in this one, is roughly 1%. Not to mention the rest of the really good items in the chest. Seems suspicious. After looting the shipwreck, the runner heads back to the ruined portal from before, which he lights and uses to finally enter the nether. Is he even at a fast pace at this point? When he first spawns into the nether, you can see that all of the lava falls around him have already fully loaded in and flowed down to the bottom, showing us that he had already entered the nether before the run. This is further shown by the fact that there is a nether fortress incredibly close to where he spawned in, as well as the fact that there are pretty much 0 magma cubes outside of the fortress or wither skeletons inside of the fortress. Blazes are the only mobs that he finds, which he is able to kill off quickly and gather all of the blaze rods he needs. So he quickly heads back to the overworld. The runner returns to one of the villages from before where he finds a green villager with trades. This sticks out because it is 100% impossible for green villagers to have trades. In fact, green villagers are canonically titled nitwits because of how useless they are. So clearly the runner set up these trades himself before the run, something that is further shown by the fact that this green villager has an ender pearl trade. How convenient. The speedrunner needs pumpkins for this trade, so he quickly goes and grabs a bunch and exchanges them for 13 pearls. Pretty much the perfect amount for finding the stronghold and entering the end. So he does just that. He crafts these pearls into Eyes of Ender and heads to the stronghold, where he mines right down in the direction of the portal room. Once in the end, we can see that the platform the runner spawned on is oddly large, showing us that it seems like he built it himself, probably to get closer to the main island, and just forgot what the proper size of the platform was. Also, all of the end crystal towers are really small, like impossibly small. I don't know how he thought he was gonna get away with that, but I guess at least it's easier for him to access the crystals now. Alright, I'm done with this run. Make sure to subscribe for more videos like this.